And we have the Striking Committee report, and I would ask the clerk to read the minutes or the names from the Striking Committee, please.
Thank you, Warden. It's my pleasure to indicate that Warden Weeper, Deputy Warden McCharles, Councillors McDougall, Marriott, Arnold and Case met this morning as the Striking Committee, and they did move and approve that Councillors McDougall, Marriott, Arnold and Case would form the members of the committee with Deputy Warden McCharles and Councillor Weber sitting by virtue of office. Councillor Arnold was appointed as chair of the Striking Committee. Councillor Marriott was appointed as vice chair of the committee. They did move to appoint to the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership Board for a 3-year term Councillors Case, Marriott, Gilliland and McDougall. And that was carried unanimously. And they also moved to appoint to the Official Plan Committee, the Official Plan Review Committee, I think it'll be called, Councillors Napper, Marriott, Arnold and McDougall. And again, the Warden and Deputy Warden will sit on that by virtue of office.
Point of order.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cripps, you said for the Sarnia-Lambton Economic Partnership for 3 years. Did you mean 2?
Well, the motion here says for not more than 2 consecutive 3-year terms. If you're, yeah. So at the moment, it's you're being appointed once for a 3-year term. Right, but we're not appointed as council.
There's an election in 2018, so you can't appoint people for 3 years if you don't know that they're going to be there. Do you understand what I mean? We're having trouble.
I do, but you're not being appointed as members of county council. You're not sitting there by virtue of office. You're being appointed as representatives of quadrants of Lambton County as private citizens. You're not sitting there as councillors. So even if you were to not be elected in 2 years, you'd still have that position for another 1, at least.
Clarification.
Thank you for that clarification. Any other questions? I would call for a motion to adopt the Striking Committee report as presented. Moved by Councillor Veen, seconded by Councillor Han. Any further questions or discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? That is carried. Thank you. And we have the AM and PM committees, and we need just recess for a minute, and I'd like the AM committee over here and the PM committee over there, and we'd like you to select your chair.
Mr. Warden, could you read out who's on what, please? Thank you.
At this time, I'd remind you, you do have the capacity to switch your AM or PM membership so long as you switch with another elected official who's part of your quadrant. Having said that, at this time, Committee AM for 2017 will consist of Councillor Napper, Councillor Arnold, Councillor Gillis, Councillor Veen, Councillor Cook, Councillor Brusewich, Councillor Marriott, and Councillor Case. So there'll be Committee AM on this side. And Committee PM are Councillors Broad, Bouchy, McCharles, Gilliland, McGugan, Bradley, Hand, and McDougall. And they'll be your Committee PM and
ready? Robin, I'm going to bang the bat. I will call us back to order, and we have the standing committee reports. Would the clerk read the minutes of the standing committee? One of you guys.
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Warden. I'll try to read my handwriting here. It's probably just as easy to focus on the core here. We had 4 motions passed with the AM committee. We had a quorum. The first motion was moved by Councillors Veen and Marriott that we nominate Emery Gillis as chair of the committee for 2017, and that was carried. The second motion is that it was moved by Councillors Napper and Case that Steve Arnold be appointed as vice chair for the committee for 2017, and that was carried. Motion number 3 was moved by Councillors Case and Arnold that Councillor Marriott be appointed to sit on the County of Lambton Agricultural Advisory Committee for 2017, and that was carried. And then we had a motion to adjourn moved by Councillors Gillis and Bean that the committee adjourn and that we meet next on January the 18th, 2017.
I would look for a motion to adopt that report. Councillor Case and Councillor Bukowicz. Any questions? All in favor? That's carried. Thank you. And the PM committee.
Thank you, Warden. I can report that Committee PM met and had a quorum. Councillor Broad moved and Councillor Hand seconded that Councillor McDougall act as chair for 2017, and that was carried. Councillor McCharles moved and Councillor Bouchy seconded that Councillor Gilliland act as vice chair for 2017, and that was carried. Councillor Gilliland moved and Councillor Broad seconded that Councillor Napper be appointed as chair of the County of Lambton Accessibility Advisory Committee, and that was carried. Councillor McDougall moved, Councillor Bouchy seconded that Councillor Hand be appointed as chair of the Adult Enrichment Centre Advisory Committee. That's a 2-year appointment. And Deputy Warden McCharles moved and Councillor McDougall seconded that Councillors Gilliland, Broad, McDougall, and Hand be appointed to the Audit Committee, and that was carried. The meeting was then adjourned. Thank you.
Okay. Could I have a motion to adopt those minutes as presented? Councillor Napper, seconded by Councillor Gilliland. Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? That's carried. Thank you. Motion 29, a motion to authorize the clerk to prepare bylaws covering the appointments to committees, boards, and commissions approved by council this day. Introduce the bylaws.
Thank you, Warden. There are 3 bylaws before County Council this morning. Those are the bylaws to appoint the Warden and Deputy Warden, to repeal a schedule of the speed limit, the highways bylaw, and then the confirming bylaws. There's a motion that bylaws numbers 31 to 33 of 2016 as circulated be taken as read a first and second time. That's moved by Councillor Gillis and seconded by Councillor Veen.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried.
Warden, there's a motion moved by Councillor Arnold and seconded by Councillor Broad that bylaws numbers 31 to 33 of 2016 as circulated be taken as read a third time and finally passed.
Any questions? All in favor? Opposed? Carried. Thank you. Yes, we have a motion to adjourn, but before we do, I just want to, Councillor Bod, well, you were moving the motion? I was going to wish everybody from our home Merry Christmas, and from the County of Lambton, happy holidays and season's greetings to everybody. Have a safe and happy holiday. Motion to adjourn. Councillor Broad, second by Councillor Boucher. Questions? All in favor? Opposed? It's still carried.